today. I really have been so busy. I really haven't even had a chance to eat. I fed Sam her food so that I could eat as much of this mac and cheese as I possibly can. So tonight we're gonna have one of our last four remaining boxes of Premier Pantry mac and cheese. So if I have the soup, I want to be able to have a sandwich or something else with that. What's up, Bucknut? Nice to see you, buddy. So tonight we're just gonna have a little bit of an open topic. Part of that is because some of the stuff that I want to be able to say, I can put it in the title. Because if I did, hold on. Because if I did, I might get flagged by YouTube. So I'm gonna have to kind of keep some of the things that I gotta say to somewhat of a minimum, just to be able to avoid the YouTube censorship and stuff like that. Because there's still things that you can't say, even though Trump's come into office and kind of kicked in. He's been a door kicker, is really what he's been. But and I want to be able to, I want to ask you guys some questions along the way. But I was watching creator Breezy Brief Brooke, or Breezy Briefs with Brooke. I can't remember what her full channel name is. Why don't you boil the water first? Then what type of savage puts pasta in cold water? I like to see if they shrink. But anyways, she was talking. Was it Venice Beach or somewhere around there? Down near L.A. A homeless woman was she lost her ability to breathe. We'll just say. And the way in which it was done, it was heinous. I mean, she, it was brutal, somewhat barbaric, and some people are acting like this is like, oh, this is a one-off. This is something that never really happens. This is something that is not an issue. And so people kind of dismiss it. I mean, they're horrified, but then they dismiss it. But what they're missing is that this happens on a regular basis. So in Cincinnati, there are young kids that go by, and you guys heard me talk about this in Cincinnati, that go by and harass the homeless, going all the way to burning people's tents down, even with someone in it. And that's happened. You have regular things like this happening in Gainesville, where there's the reason why they were clearing out the forest is because they were looking for the bodies. Okay, it was not. This type of stuff happens all the time in Chattanooga. They will as part of gang initiation. There's a couple of things that you can do. One of them is to assault a woman, not in a kind way, and do it right there. The whole gang gets in on it. It's kind of like how the Hells Angels require that in order for you to be made, you have to have taken the life of a cop. Okay, and a lot of these gangs, they have their initiations, and so some vulnerable woman is out there and caught. And there's also a serial killer that is going around in Chattanooga. There's a bunch of bodies that are showing up where they're wrapped in cellophane. Nobody knows who's doing it. It's really, really interesting. So I like the name. Please donate. Yes. Well, Patriot, I gotta. Yeah, probably. But I've kind of gotta watch what I say on YouTube, just because, I don't. This is probably already gonna get a rating. Like when you come watch it post replay, you'll see like a 21 and above advisory on some of this stuff, because I mean, this type of stuff happens all the time. This is a common feat. The homeless are the easiest targets for any predator. And so to act like that this is something that is completely, off kilter, a one-off or something like this, that this doesn't really happen, and to think that you can even do anything about it, because when I found out what the gang initiation was in Chattanooga, I'm like, yeah, I'll step in. He's like, dude, really? You're gonna one guy against like six armed guys? Are you really stupid? I mean, what are you gonna do? Um, you know, but yeah, it just it's and the reality is unless you have enough to be able to go in there and decimate a group of guys, because you're gonna have to be taking on every single one of them. What can you do? Okay, and this is the reality of the situation that most people don't realize. It's like, yeah, you want to do something, but what are you risking your life for? Because a lot of the, like in Gainesville, a lot of the reason why the bodies show up where they do is because um is because a lot of these people have done the dealer wrong in some way, or they stepped on his toes. Like I had an incident where my life was on the line, and I didn't realize that I was still young. I mean, well, I wasn't young. I just turned 30, or just a little bit over 30, and I'm in Venice Beach, and I got a doobie for two, and so I sold it for two, and I figured nobody's toes would be stepped on. Well, you know what? I got a talking to, and he said it, and then he said, and because I wasn't getting it, he's like, dude, don't make me tell you this one more time. And I see kind of the other guys close in on me. That's when I realized, like, oh crap, this isn't my naive world. This is the world in which I live in. This is very, very brutal, and if I'm not very careful, I could end up in a place where I don't want to be. And this is the reality of the thing: is if you step on the feet of the gangs, or if you do not follow through, or if they want you and you refuse, well, then they're gonna do what it is that they're gonna do. And as an individual, this is what as the homeless individuals, this is what you're gonna deal with. Okay, so it's not a one-off. This is part of the lifestyle. This is the brutality of the lifestyle. This is where a lot of the psychological trauma comes from. There was a girl. So if you guys remember me talking about how when I was in San Antonio, I got picked up by this religious cult. Okay, so I got picked up by this religious cult, and as I'm leaving, this girl comes running out, wait for me, wait for me. And I'm figuring out her story, what's going on. I go panhandle for some money for bus, and then I tried to impress her by panhandling some money to get us something to eat. And I was pretty successful in that. And back then, $2 could buy you two hot dogs and a Coke. And so we did that. But anyway, she was a heroin addict, and her and her boyfriend were they were in a back alley, kind of sleeping behind a dumpster, and they got to witness something that they weren't supposed to witness. And so she was on the lam. That's actually how she ended up in that place, is because she was looking for a safe place, because seeing something like that and then knowing how much her life was in danger was enough to be able to sober this. She was some 20-something year old girl. I mean, she was only a couple years younger than me. So is that where you did all the butt stuff? Let's hear that story. No, we're not going to talk about me wanting to do the Polk Street Shuffle. No. But anyways, man, this water takes forever to come to a boil. Is it because I got it too low? Okay, there we go. But when it comes to some people are savages. I think we're all savages. I think we're naive enough to think that the average person wouldn't turn to this. Like, if you want to know what the apocalypse is going to be like, look at it from that standpoint. What, like, brutality and just imagine now the gangs are controlling everything, but instead of a gang, it's a warlord. Okay, imagine now you have a warlord that's over everything. And just like the gangs, they get it by being militant, by seizing power, and by subjugating the people that are in the area. So just like the gangs, you're allowed to be in there. You can walk through areas. Even being a white boy, you can walk through certain areas because they know you're going to see your guy. That's the what's up, Invisible Man? Blunts for 420 story. Nice. Okay. Oh, sorry. But anyways, you, this is that brutality. That's what we're capable of, and the only reason why we're not that way right now is because of we have some sort of stable society. This is why it's important that the government convinces us that the jobs reports are good, that the economy's doing good, and all this other stuff. Because the moment we find out that the whole ship's sinking, I mean, people are already looting the ship as it sinks, and so that's kind of like where Doge comes in. It's looting people are looting the treasury, looting whatever it is that they can for themselves, because those that are smart enough see what's coming and know it's only a few years off. It's not like 20 years ago where it's like, yeah, right, the ability of a government fall apart, unless you were like during the Cold War. Post Cold War, I mean, nobody even thought about the possibility of a government collapse. And so therefore now we're in this situation where you have people that don't even know how to handle the slightest bit of pain. If you're willing to to steal from somebody for something so trivial as to save something that you could never have, or will never come, or because you're scared you won't have enough for this or that or the other, to be able to compromise your integrity, the average person is going to do it at such a low threshold that you're going to see this type of brutality become rampant. It will be like the purge, but every day. This is what human beings are truly capable of. This is why when homeless people, like especially people that have been out on the streets as long as I have, that sit back and talk about preppers, we laugh because in a lot of ways it's like, yeah, you're LARPing. You wouldn't know how to handle a stressful situation to begin with. And if you could handle the stressful situation, how do you deal with the trauma and the backlash? Because now your reality's been broken. And what kind of bumbling baby are you going to be? Or are you going to crawl in a bottle? Or what is it that you're going to do? And there's so many different ways that, although people think that they're prepared, you can't prepare for certain things. You can't. There's no way that you can do anything like that. You can try and make it not happen, but there's always going to be holes. So a lot of people may look at me and go, hey, you know what? You've been chronically homeless for like 25 years. Why should I listen to you? Well, here's the thing. I had to learn a lot of lessons just to be able to get off the streets and have some stability. I had about 9 years of full-on stability before everything fell apart, and it had a lot to do with what was going on with COVID, what was going on with our last administration, and what was going on with the border. My big mistake in business, and I've regretted it every day since, is moving my business from Oregon to Texas. Because here's the thing. I didn't know it. All everybody said was, "Hey, if you go to Texas, you're going to make lots of money." That if depending upon what industry you're in, you're going to make lots of money, but you're not going to make lots of money in Texas if you are competing like I had to, because I think it's what 25% of all businesses in the state of Texas are owned by undocumented immigrants, and out of that 25%, they hang out in three fields: cleaning, construction, and landscaping. I owned a janitorial company. How do you compete with these people that can come across the border? And then you, at some point, there's so much push and pull. You get so burnt out that you're just like, why even fight to be able to keep this going? At a certain point, you're just like, I would rather be homeless than deal with this, because it was crazy. The things that we had to deal with before COVID, before the border crisis. I mean, I survived the lockdowns, but I barely survived another year after that before I ended up having to close my business. But that was my ticket of never being homeless ever again. Is I figured I would build my own income, because if I was gonna have to be dependent on a job. And Pinball Preparedness just said this the other day. He's saying it in his old man wisdom, but I realized this a long time ago, that if I was ever going to have any type of self-sufficiency, I was going to have to work for me. Okay? I was going to have to work for me in some form or fashion. And once I did that, and I was able to bring in the money that I was bringing in and have the successes, I mean, I was good at what I did. To have a 4.27 rating after 200 reviews is amazing. especially when they're authentic reviews. It's harder to get somebody who likes your stuff to review your product than it is to get somebody who doesn't like your stuff. So I mean, I built a quality business, but with the employee crunch and then the competing with undocumented, it made it virtually impossible to build anything that was going to be sustainable unless yeah, I mean, that was crazy. So I figured out homelessness, but you still can't ever avoid homelessness. Even the people that are the most prepared for homelessness, that have done everything in their life right to avoid homelessness, may still, in some form or fashion, whether being a victim of the wake that's left in the destruction of whatever happens. I mean, look at all these people that lost their homes. I mean, the whole city of LA just got razed to the ground. Now LA is building what, condos, and now people are trying to find land everywhere else. So that means land here in Arizona is about to go through the roof, because all of the Californians that are leaving LA are figuring out they don't have to go into the office. They can work from home as long as they've got good internet connection. So you're going to see probably all the way up to this area, because we're even building a chemical plant in my area. And Clyde, when you get here, you might want to look into that if you're looking for something that might be a little stable. I don't know what you guys do for money, but that might be an option for you if you're interested. Yeah, it does come in many ways outdoors. 30,000 people die waiting for disability. Wow, that's a lot. What's up, Smoking Swamp? There is wisdom in survival experience. Yeah, and the thing is, you're not really going to get that unless you put yourself in those situations. I mean, even out on trail, I had certain situations where if I made the wrong mistake, if I freaked out, I would have never made it out of where I was. First time was St. Mark's, because the trail broke and I couldn't find the trail. My battery was dead. I couldn't any GPS. I was basically on an island all by myself trying to figure out how to get out of this place. This was what I learned, in my travels on being able to survive. I learned how to be able to survive in some of the dangerous areas and some of the not so dangerous areas. I've learned how to make money in various different ways and all these different things. That's why I thought I would never be homeless. But the thing is again, it happened. And it could happen to anybody no matter how much you prepare. Because damn, I feel like I really I did everything in my power that I was capable of to make sure that I would never end up homeless. I fixed what was going on up here. I spent a lot of years doing that. What else did I do? I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to be better at business, how to be able to get more clients. I never had a problem getting clients. My problem was never with clients. My problem was getting employees. And after the times where I've been screwed over by a small business, now I understand why people wouldn't come work for me. It's because I wasn't big enough. I didn't give them the safety that, hey, I need my check. And, they're already poor. They don't want to have to sit there and wonder if their boss is going to pay them, because a lot of small business owners or overnights will go hire a bunch of people and never pay them. The guy that I worked for in Cave Springs did that. He had a body shop that he was doing the same thing on. He'd run people up 40, 80, 100 hours, and then he'd run them off and never pay them. And, he would make all the money and stuff like that, but then he'd go and blow it because he had a spending problem. But, that, and he was an unmedicated bipolar. So, and this guy was truly a chemical imbalance. Hold on, I need to make some milk. I forgot. Okay. Okay. So, milk, and then butter. Let's just throw this cube of butter in there. I honestly don't really even need milk. melt. Okay, so I've got to make some milk real quick. Well, what do you guys got to say? It's going pretty good. Working from home is mostly from COVID. What it did is it sped up the process, Patriot News. It sped up the process in the transition into the digital economy. We probably wouldn't have been in the digital economy until about maybe 2 or 3 years from now, where something like this would become more common. But with COVID, all it did is it accelerated what was already in process of happening. See, we already knew several years ago that AI was going to put everybody out of a job. And the thing is they understood that we were about ready to have a population implosion. So thanks, one cup. Um, you know, uh, you know, just sorry. Here, let me just put some of that in there. There. But yeah, they already knew this was coming. And how do you deal with the population implosion? Because right now, what's his name? The dude, the really entertaining astrologist. I forget what his name is. He's a black guy. He's really entertaining. He really kind of brings astrology alive. I forget what his name is. Maybe one of you guys can post it in chat. But he talks about he talks about the, what was it he was talking about? Shit, I forget what he was talking about now. I was so busy trying to remember the name that I forgot that. So sorry about that, guys. Oh well, but yeah, just yeah. All right, guys. While I eat, this is your time to watch the dog drool. So, for those of you that want to see Sam, say hi to Sam. And I can sit and read your chats from here while she sits and stares at me. You looking pretty for the camera, huh? Yes. I forgot where I was going with that. See, unfortunately, well, I have short-term memory issues. So, sometimes my mind and my mouth get so disconnected that I forget where I was going with it because I was too busy. It's like I'm trying to run 10 things at once. But I have a question for you guys. The video I released just right before the live stream, what did you guys think of that? Did you guys like that format, or do you guys not? And do you guys think that I should go in a blog format, or do you guys think that I should just kind of stick to the way I've been doing things? I'm curious if anybody wants to answer that question. I'd love to hear your answer. But let's see. We got the goats out and got them fed today. I got to pull up some big old boulders. Man, those boulders were huge. The chore video, yeah. No. That was a live stream. I put another one out just a couple hours ago. It's called Homestead Living Battle of the Boulder. Where I'm basically, I start with, it's like a small one, then a medium-sized one, then you see this big one, man, and damn, that thing was probably at least 200 pounds. I'd love to know your guys' opinion because I put it out as an experiment just to see what people think. Because I'm getting so much advice from so many different directions. You know, I want to be able to make sure that I'm taking a lot of the different points, because in some ways you represent a section of the 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 community. So I've been asking asking people and stuff like that, and it seems like I'm going in one direction, but I'm just trying to figure it out. And so it seems like every time it looks like I get solid for something, something comes up in the mix and kind of like throws me off. I think in the same way that I was trying to find my way for the first probably almost a year before I started talking about the homeless subject. At that point, that's when my videos started taking off. So my audience let me know what part of my knowledge, what topics you guys wanted me to talk about. But you guys, I was on trail and all this other stuff, and I planned on buying me a piece of land. I just didn't plan on buying it this soon. Everything just kind of accelerated at once. I just went with the flow on it, but now I'm trying to find my way again. It's going to take me a minute, but what your guys' feedback is, what's up, DFH? You could probably make good bank doing shorts with those videos. Which videos? You talking about the ones with the rock? You're only getting maybe 30 cents per thousand views on the shorts. Now, if there's more shorts like content, maybe I can. Do you think it's more? Do you think it's more shorts style content, or do you think I can do it in long form, or do you think I should just do that in shorts? And maybe save my long form for how-tos and stuff like that. But I'm always curious. Nice to see you, by the way, Humble Pie. JF Enterprises, you just found out a coworker lives in an RV? Okay. How did that conversation go? Was it awkward? Or were they okay with it because they like their lifestyle? What's up, Mr. Producer? Her name is Sam. All right, fam, you want some? That was good. I needed that. I needed to get full. So tomorrow I'm supposed to be getting my battery. Apparently there was a mix-up with the guy. He was telling me that my number and another number look similar, and so he sent the text message to the wrong person. So he called to set things straight. He's gonna make a special trip out here tomorrow. And then, I should have my battery. We'll see if it works. I also got a neighbor that's coming over to help me with to go and help me with putting the tarp over this thing, because with these 50-mile-an-hour winds, I don't want that tarp on there. It's gonna rip it. But I got to figure out a way to get on and off, and I need to figure out a way to get a ladder. But anyways, Nino milk, when that's all you drink, it doesn't taste bad at all. You get over the taste real quick, especially if you mix it accordingly. So, all right, Sam, you're done. So, this is, I swear by this stuff. I really do. I love this stuff. I mean, I even use it for my cereal, because without having refrigeration, it makes it really hard to be able to store things like milk and and things that need to be frozen, things like that. Sit. You want some water? Go get some water. Um, yeah, see, she learned that one on trail. Okay. Shorts. Are shorts easier for you, or you know what? Honestly, Chris, I don't know. A short isn't very. I mean, it's just a matter of getting the shot and probably taking the time and doing the editing. I could do it. It'd probably take me all of 30 minutes to edit a short down because it's only going to be maybe 5 minutes, 5 or 7 minutes of video, anyways. Just kind of edit it down, but maybe doing something like that in shorts, and I can do it up to 3 minutes in shorts now because of the competition with TikTok. So that's also something to think about. He's kind of just told me after he explained his car's trans CPU isn't working right. He's Hispanic, doesn't speak a lot of English, but he showed me the rig. He's trying to find a place like RV park. Oh, okay. Sam, on your bed now. Sit. I said sit. No, you sit. All right. Yeah, hold on. Let me turn this around so that I can come sit with you. Yeah, scoot over. Scoot. Yes, the spaz dog. Oh, no. You were in Tootsie Rolls today. You were in Tootsie Rolls today. You don't get to lick me. Oh, okay. He's from Bronx, New York, so I'd imagine keeping it somewhere difficult. Uses propane heater. I'm jealous a bit. He's got the driving one. I want to tow behind so I can detach and go to work. You know, that's the way to do it. But then I've heard people, JF, that say that when they go and they put their RV, like they'll leave it in a Walmart parking lot. They have to still get someone to watch it because it'll get ticketed just for being left there and stuff like that. So that's just something for you guys to think about when you're doing something like that. That dog is totally a transgender. Wow. What makes you say that? She's definitely a princess. Yeah, she is definitely a princess. Anybody who knows Sam knows that she is a princess. But come here. Come here. So pretty. Yeah. Are you pretty? Are you pretty? Yeah, you're pretty, huh? You're so pretty that everybody will stop and get out of their car just to grab at you, huh? Huh? Yeah, that's how pretty you are. You're the most prettiest dog that there ever was. And that's why everybody wants to give you attention because you deserve it for being such a pretty dog, huh? Yeah, that's my feral princess. So, but anyways, stop it, doggy. Yeah, no, you don't get to lick me. You do not, no, you do not get to lick me. I will push you off like I do. Come here, lay down. Lay down. Come on, lay down. No, don't be biting at me. Yes, I know. You want to play. It's playtime. Yes, I know. Because everybody's on the camera wants to pay attention to a dog. Because you're just that important, huh? Yes, you're that important. Okay. So, good point. I'd figure I'd try church lots in exchange for changing their light bulbs or other electrical needs. I don't like leaving my truck in Walmart parking lots when I go to the store. Good insight. Help with drones. What about drones? The ears are dead giveaway as a transgenderism. Oh, really? What science is that backed up by, Corn Pop? Yeah. So, yeah, it's the ears. They've decided that you want to be a male because it's your ears. Yes. Yes, do you have male ears? Yes, you do, don't you? Yes, you think you're the biggest, baddest badass on the block, huh? Sit. Now. Yeah, that's how much of a badass you are, huh? Okay. Princess Sam. Yes, she is a feral princess. So, yeah. But anyway, come here, sit. Yeah. Arr. Okay, so some dude was talking about you helping with Ukraine drones. Oh, I must have missed that comment. What's up, Captain Apana? Nice to see you. So somebody that I talked to today suggested that I take this live stream over an hour. So help me with this, guys, and help me bring this live stream to over an hour, because what he says is that after an hour, all of a sudden everything kind of blows up. And I noticed that once you get close to like the a little over an hour mark, that actually gets that all of a sudden the algorithm starts recommending you and stuff. So we're gonna do an experiment. Oh boy, that's not gonna be pretty. You notice how it got a little darker? Yeah, well, that's a big old rain cloud, but it's temporary. I don't think it's gonna hit. So it's supposed to rain Saturday or tomorrow in the afternoon, and all the way up until like Saturday morning is when we have rain. Now they have been dropping it. It was like a 100%. Now they've dropped it down to like 78, 80%. So we're not playing. We're not playing. Yeah, I know you think it's time to play, but we're not playing. No. Stop. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, Captain Apana, you were the one that lost your dog, weren't you? How are you doing? So, anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm not up. I'm not tight the hour plus. I mean, I did the 6 hour thing one time, but I don't think that doing an hour live stream is really I don't know. It's just there's what you guys don't realize is that as an introvert, I don't have so much energy to give, and so I got to. I'm not as much of an people who meet me in person generally tend to notice that I don't really. I'll have a conversation with them. It'll last for maybe 20 minutes. And then I pretty much don't say anything for the rest of the day. I prefer being quiet, keeping to myself, stuff like that. And 10,000 cats. Yeah, I'd like to get a cat here so that we can have them after the mice. That would be something nice to have. But I have to make sure that I got everything going in the right direction here. All right. Well, thanks, Chris. Much appreciated. So maybe I might do that in the do my long form as like the how-tos and stuff like that, but do some shorts along the way. See if that actually makes any difference. I want the channel to grow with me. I mean, the reason why I took so much time to name it the Epoch of Friar Tuck is so that it was because I realized like I'm not just a homeless guy. I'm a guy on a journey, and it's my journey started off being housed and then went homeless, and now I'm housed up again in a quasi manner. But it is what it is, and so this has been a journey, and what's going to happen I'm going to figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong, and the channel is going up, and I'm going to eventually reach the goals that I want to reach. But every day is a learning experience. So some of you guys, like the amount of energy that goes into doing YouTube is a lot. I mean, I got to research, I got to look at the topic, I got to be able to research the topic. If I'm doing it scripted so it's a better quality video, then I got to do that. If I want to even improve the quality more, I got to start doing some more B-roll. I think if I'm talking about what I'm doing around here, they should be. I've just got to be able to put it into play there. But anyways, it's just I'm trying to figure out my stride, because I kind of found my stride right before I got off trail, and Some of me wishes I probably no, because if I would have stayed on trail, it would have been horrible. Have you considered showing a nipple? Um, I think that might be considered adult content. I'm not exactly sure, unless we're talking about one of Sam's nipples, which I don't know if she has any. Oh yeah, her ears perked up real quick. Like what the? What are you doing, dude? So, um, but it is what it is. Just I don't know. An hour is a lot of a lot of energy because when I first started it was at least I could do a video. I could just think of the topic because I mean I'm living it, so talk about it and use that as a teaching experience, and maybe people will learn from what it is that I'm doing. And maybe that's probably what I should continue doing then, I guess. I just the format's going to be different. So are you guys okay with the fact that I may not be covering the homeless issue? I still want to be involved in homelessness and being part of the change. But I think as far as the way the channel goes, I think its direction is going to be towards homesteading. It's recommended that I use the word homestead instead of prepper, and I think that kind of fits me because I don't consider myself a prepper. I mean, yeah, I fit into the community, but I don't really consider myself a prepper. I consider myself like right now, yeah, you could call me a homesteader because I now have a plot of land that I'm working. So that's just, and it's going to be a long drawn out course over the next few years as I pay this property off, start building things are possible. I mean, I know I'm gonna have to have water carted in. I know that I'm gonna have to have like solar panels and stuff like that for electricity. But I kind of want to think of it like okay, so those of you guys remember the opening scene to Star Wars when they go to meet Luke Skywalker. When it first opens up and you get to see like they're in the middle of a sand desert in like a little, I guess you call it a Bedouin house, something like that. I don't know. That's just an idea. He probably only does that for the Patreon crowd. Um, yeah, I can. Bucknut, are you free? Prepping is good, but could have negative connotation. Yes, and you're not the only person that's saying that either. I believe the essay. I'm not a prepper because I believe the SHTF years ago. Uh, yeah, well, the free man movement, as far as I know, started in the 1930s after House Joint Resolution 192. When they took the gold and took us away from gold to legal tender, there was a lot of people who fought it and thought that Congress was doing something that they shouldn't be doing, but they actually done in their history. Part of the reason why the Constitution was written was because we couldn't pay our war debts. We were originally under the Articles of Confederation, and so what that did, that opened up a whole can of worms, and people started going back and understanding that if you want to understand how this country became the country that we see today versus the country we hear about in the fables and stories about our ancestors, then you have to go into legal history, and along the way you will pick up things that will that's why I'm will do like this whole contracting and life part, because I was able to understand through lectures and other things is that um it, I was able to understand kind of how the world really works. And when you find out how the world really works, instead of getting mad, you just go, huh, okay, that's the rules to the game. Time to make my own sandbox. Okay, and once you figure out what the rules of the game are, it becomes so much more entertaining. But this is stuff that I cannot put out here on YouTube. The reason why I can't put it out on YouTube is in 2013, Obama not only legalized that the government can lie to you, because up until that point the government could not lie to you, so they were given the right to do that, but he also labeled those in the free man movement because of what they were doing to the police. Oh, it's choppy. Okay, is it better now? So okay, oops. I'm not a prepper because, yeah, it's old news over there, trying to bring in more of a weirdo troll type of audience that's purely out of my love for trolls. Okay. We evolve. Is it better now? Okay, one better now. Okay, cell signal boosters for van life. Okay. All right, better now. All right. Thanks, Humble Pie. All right. So we document to understand jurisprudence, the judicial precedent, basic rules. Most the consequences, you would end up under a hangman's noose. But the thing is, there was very few laws. It was don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, and don't take another man's life. Okay, those were the basic rules. Past that, everything else was considered civil or the law of equity. So therefore, you had a claim against somebody because their cattle overran your fence or something along that line, and so therefore it would go into the law of equity. What has happened is we turned common law into criminal and statutory law, and basically molded it all into one over time. And it started happening. Some will say as early as the 1870s. Some will say as late as the 1920s, when this happened. But then you got to understand like the difference between classical law and modern law, and kind of how those things change, because that's how the Constitution is truly affected. So if you really want to be able to at least start that journey and understand, because these are going to be the things I'm going to be talking about over there, in a large way, because this is something, the knowledge that I have, the things that I have been able to experience, I can't say over here on YouTube. YouTube will censor me. Okay, so if you're interested in stuff like that, and you kind of want to go, damn it, is it better now? Here, let's put it over here. Is it better now? Might want to add it to your wish list. Um, yeah. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, off and on. Roll with it. Yep, seems better. I think it's because of the topic that I'm talking about. Because it seems like every time I want to talk about that topic, you guys are. You'll have to come over. You'll have to come over to. You'll have to come over to Patreon if you really want to hear what I have to say on the subject. That's all I got to say. Um, on top of that, I'm really glad that you guys are here and that you guys are part of all this and da 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 da. I really appreciate it. I want to make sure that you guys understand that I wouldn't be here where I am if it wasn't for you guys to begin with. And I know sometimes I get a little sappy and stuff like that, but sometimes you got to remember gratitude. I think when the world hits, when the apocalypse happens, gratitude will be in such short supply that you might as well enjoy it while you can. Because if you are grateful, it's just that you woke up another day, that you got another meal, that the hunger pains aren't there, that that you're in a safe area with where you can actually like let your guard down for a minute, or at least some sort of let your guard down type of thing. These are the types of things that are in store for us in the future if the whole world falls apart. Um, in control. Okay. Um, less stress. Yeah. Well, you've got to learn. One of the things. So you guys know that what they used to call panic attacks, I found out is like an adrenal rush. Okay. So what I'm having is every once in a while is I have adrenal rushes. I kind of got to be active and spend a lot of energy every day just to burn that off, so that I don't want to crawl out of my skin. Um, I've come to find out that this is something that I was born with. It was not something that I developed over time. It just, anyways. Um, it just, hold on. Chappy again, yeah. So, but what I've learned over the last year, because of all the turmoil that Sam attracted, was how to keep my cool. Because prior to those experiences, if I would have had an adrenal rush, I would have blacked out and I would have been violent. That's really the scary part of all this. These people didn't realize that it could have been very, very, crazy for them. We'll just say that it could have been to their detriment if I would have lost complete control. And what it taught me is how to remain calm in stressful situations. It's not something that you can teach somebody. It's something that you have to experience, and you have to develop a tolerance to it. It's not something that you can sit there and just do and be like, oh yeah, sure, not a problem. You know what I mean? So personally, I feel much better during periods which I exercise. Yeah, well, I think a lot of what anxiety is too much adrenaline. I think that the pharmaceutical industry and the mental health industry want to take something that is a biological disorder or a result a survival mechanism, because I mean, if you're exposed to so much stress when you're young, what happens is you're always in that constant fight or flight, and so therefore that's part of what makes a person aggressive, and so therefore, yeah, you just gotta you've got to learn to balance yourself. So feels like someone is running over a steamroller. I went to the ER multiple months ago. I thought I was having a heart attack. What was it? Um, yeah, but yeah, you don't want stress in life. That's why I'm out here. That's why I'm trying to make sure that my power situation set up, my water situation. I could sit there and I could pump out 5 videos a day on 2 different channels if I wanted to. As long as I have unlimited power, I could do a lot of stuff, and I could change my life if I want to. But that's kind of, I don't want to have to go into town unless I need to go check my mail or go in to buy food. But I kind of want to do that maybe once a week or once a month or something along those lines. So, no, panic attacks are where you hyperventilate and you pass out. If you hyperventilate and you pass out, that is a panic attack. If you get anxious and you black out, and instead of passing out, you become violent, that is an indicator that you may have some issues with adrenaline. Okay, that was a key indicator. I kept trying to tell doctors this for a long time, but they're like, no, 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 it's just a panic attack. It's like, no, no, I'm not blacking out. I mean, I'm not passing out. I'm not hyperventilating. All these other people that say that they have panic attacks, that's no, I get aggressive. So, can't breathe. Oh, I've had several severe panic attacks. Oh, okay. Well, that's a panic attack. But I don't know. I've gotten wrongly diagnosed so many times that it's taking a lot of years just to get to a point where I at least think that the doctors are giving me a straight shot, and they actually took a moment. And I was glad that I met a doctor in Cincinnati, that was willing to listen to me, because his willing to listen to me is what brought me to this final part. So dissociation, like I don't even know where I am, can't understand English. Oh yes, I met a girl when I was when I was in a 5150, and then that was the time I got 5250'd. But she would lose like 30 days at a time. She used to be a manager at a 911 call center. Apparently, dissociation is a defense mechanism against too much stress. And you could tell the job that she did was really stressful, because she was a manager of a 911 call center. So it was not the job took a toll on her. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I don't know, but the thing is I think that PTSD is too widely used, because you can't be human without experience some sort of trauma. If you don't experience some sort of trauma as a human, you're not alive. So otherwise, either that or everybody has PTSD, so we should all be medicated. Actually, no. The only solution for PTSD is behavioral therapy, group therapy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I mean, yeah, and so what? We need to put the whole country through behavior therapy. Who's going to decide whose behavior and what behavior works? That opens up a whole new door of control, because if the regulators decide to create policy that that forces the behavior modifications to be done in their favor, you could have a very, very weird society. Mm. Only vote Republican. Only vote Democrat. So, father tried to drown me twice when I was a child. Does that count? Oh yeah, that's real trauma. Um, so, but some people like they stub their toe and yeah, I got trauma. I mean, we all experience trauma. Some of us get it more severe than others, and I think that it just it you really kind of have to you have to analyze it, because some things it's like that's the natural trauma of life. Mama told you no. Okay, and sometimes it's like that's an unnecessary trauma that nobody should ever experience in any society or any civilization. And those are the ones, so it's like, okay, you call that PTSD, but there's so much stuff that we get traumatized by because that's how we learn. That's how our ancestors learned. One guy stands up, the lion takes him out. So everybody learns to keep down if they don't want to do it. They had to experience the trauma in order to learn the lesson. Mm. I meant research shows that MDMA plus talk therapy has significant. What worked for me was self-reflection, getting to understand myself, and knowing what my personality flaws were. Um, I used to be a people pleaser really, really, really bad. I was very codependent, really, 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 really bad. And a lot of that dealt with just like environment and learned habits and coping mechanisms and stuff like that. But you know, for me it was just doing a lot of self reflection, and I told myself when I turned 18 I would never let any of that stuff happen to me again. And I've been pretty much on par with that so far. And the thing is you have to put it's your past. It has to go behind you. You once you turn 18, you're the one in control. You get to shape your life. You get to decide who you're going to be. And if you don't like who you are, then change who you are for a better person that you're more proud of. I think that so many people hold on to the past so much that they fail to move forward. And I think that that's why a lot of people have problems, is that they're holding on to the past. I was holding on to the past. I was holding on to the fact that this lady got a slap on the wrist, and destroyed my life, and I was pissed. Um, I mean that would send me into like general rage fits. And so, I mean, I had to learn how to put that in my past. That's where I was. This is who I am. What happened shaped to be who I am, and some of the personality quirks that come with it. I need to be able to recognize, identify, and make the necessary changes if I think that they're not the proper habits or traits that I want. And this is in the same way that George Washington had his virtues. This is my list of virtues, is to look at my personality and who I am as a person and ask myself, am I proud of myself? And would I be happy to introduce myself to somebody else? The ice cream machine is broken at McDonald's. How will I survive? Yeah, that is a trauma. Mm. No one should ever experience no ice cream at McDonald's. If the fire burns and then you learn to stop messing with it. Yes. You need a small generator. It would be nice to have a small generator, but unless somebody wants to bless me with some kindness, I'm the battery's supposed to be here. I need to buy the inverter, which is another $40, and then I'm gonna have to wait for that to arrive. So if he brings the battery tomorrow, I might just order the inverter tonight, but it still won't. I won't be able to pick it up till Monday. Um, I don't. Yeah, it's gonna take a while to get to me. So, I don't know. I need to order the inverter for so that I have all the power I need and it's all right in here and I don't have to worry about it. So that's going to be something that I'm working on. I'm trying to get there, and hopefully I will be there. So, all right. Is the fire parents and you just yeah? Okay, we need a small gym. Okay. Yep, that's the trick. Getting rid of the baggage. That's why. Oh, wow, where'd that come from? That's why I started the other channel, and I'm working on it. So right now I'm going, there's a guy out of Germany that I was introduced to through Homeless Entrepreneur. And you can only do so much work on yourself until you can't do the work yourself. You need help because you can only see your flaws so deep. You need somebody outside of you that is a disinterested third party that wants to help you see what's going on with you. And right now I'm getting that. I told you guys it was supposed to be really intense. And at first I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be a cakewalk. I'm going to be learning from this guy how to do it. And the thing is after doing it and like, I end up, not to, not to, well, yeah, I end up in tears by the end of the conversation because I'm being forced to look within at the core content of my character and the things that I've held on to since the beginning that, things that you don't even realize that you're holding on to. And at that point, today especially, I realize, you know what? I want to be able to bring this to not just the homeless community but everybody, because I think this is something that if you do a little bit of self-reflection and you look within and you ask yourself those simple questions: am I happy with who I am, and what do I need to change about who I am, not the materialistic but as in content of character, who you are as a human being. I want to bring that to a realization, but I also want to bring to a realization within the mental health complex, especially within like the counselors and the mental health professionals, is that there are deeper issues, and it's making it look like a mental health problem, but in reality it is, but it's a different kind. It's not one that needs to be medicated. It's that because of the government policy in destroying the family as a part of its population control, it has decided that, the cause and effect is that by destroying the family, you are creating broken individuals, because when those two people break away from each other, they're no longer together, they are a little bit broken because uh, we have as tradition always had, you get married to one woman and one man and you stay together forever and you just figure out how to make it work. But the thing is, by destroying the family, you when you destroy that, you break a person a little bit, in the same way that you break a person when they lose their home and they lose everything that they have and they have to go sleep out on the street corner, or sleep in a van, or sleep in a car, or sleep on a friend's couch, or beg for help from somebody. Okay, it breaks you in a way to where now you have offspring, and now you have broken your offspring because you yourself are broken. And if you're not aware of it, you're passing on those bad habits, those bad traits onto your children. And we are supposed to be better to our children. Okay, and so if we're going to be better to our children, we really need to understand that we were the society was intentionally broken, and this is the consequences. And so either teach your children how to develop happy, healthy, successful relationships, and what's positive in society, what's negative in society, give them a realistic point of view. I think it would go a long way in allowing, the brokenness to be mended, because as we have broken individuals, we have the broken parents that now are giving birth to what will soon be broken children. Some of those children get broken so bad that they end up homeless They are broken badly because they are taught bad habits. They're you know, like in my case, my parents had a grudge on each other, and they used me as a conduit. And so you can only imagine, like, just put yourself in those shoes for just a quick second, and you can only imagine how that's going to break a child. And the child doesn't know any better. The parent doesn't realize the damage that they're doing because they're in their own moment, having their own temper tantrum, not realizing how destructive they're being. Like, I can't even mention my mother's name in front of my dad without him cussing up a storm, and my stepmom telling him he needs to calm down or leave the table. I mean, just what kind of impact is that, and how is that affecting your children long term? I don't know. I'm hoping it's a LifePo, but I have a feeling it's a car battery. No, it is a something 20, like a Deep 24. It's an RV battery. It's a marine RV battery. It costs $135. It's like 12 inches. It's a small battery because I have a small compartment. So that's what I got coming. Johnson's policies destroy the family. Well, yes, but you got to understand where all of this came in. And actually, I think that Nixon did more to destroy the family with sex ed and contraception than anything, because it taught you that you could have intercourse without consequence. That there was no consequence with it, and so therefore that's kind of what led to it, and that happened under Nixon. And it was the global 2000 crowd, which would later become the global or the agenda 2030, 2050. It's all morphed. It all started in the 1930s. That's its root. And they keep changing the name of it, but it's the same policy with the same end goal. We have a population problem, and we need to use public policy as a way to be able to reduce the population without either creating mass genocide or doing nothing, and have us all end up in ruin. And in their quest for corrupting it by having control, we see things like the World Economic Forum. But originally it was a pure and it was a pure question, uh, with a business sense on it. Like, how do we manage resources in the future? Oh crap, we've got too many people pulling on too many resources. And so therefore government had to create policy because that's the only tool it has. Uh, my friends. Oh, that's cool. Rails, nice to see you, buddy. Deep cycle, lead acid, bucknut. Well, he will figure it out. Yeah. The prison industrial complex, too much money to be made, keeping everything shitty. Oh, Chris. Oh, I got a story for you. So I was in Oregon, and this was back when I had the two houses, and I decided, you know what? I want to, I want to go see my senator and go see my and go see my representative. So I went up to Salem to go see them. I slept in the park, even right there outside the Capitol. I had houses, but I just didn't have money for a hotel room. So I slept right there in the park, under a bush. Nobody bothered me. Um, but anyways, I went to see him, and yeah, not only has Oregon become like a prison state, the arrogance in the population, like, look at these prisoners made this. It's like, dude, you don't realize you're creating laws that are destroying people's lives for things that are inconsequential. Like, if you get into a fight, you're going to go to prison for 5 years. Okay, you got into a fight 3 times. So what? People get into fights. At least they're not going much further where it becomes, detrimental, or fatal. Okay, at least they're not taking it to a point where it's getting fatal. It's just two guys go to fisticuffs. You do it 3 times. Measure 11 says you go to prison for 5 years. The mandatory minimum, no questions asked, 5 years or more. So I mean, it just it is. They're making it so that you have no choice but to comply like an afraid lemming, because you're afraid of going to prison, because you see orange is the new black, and you see all these different things, or you hear the propaganda about homelessness and stuff like that. For some people, homelessness is an option. It really is. For other people, it may not be, but for some people, it can be an option if you use it properly. Just like everything, if you use it properly, is of good. So, okay, what's up? Okay, but yeah, I mean, it's just I've got to see this thing, this in my lifetime. So yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot. Um, I really have. Wow. Sometimes until I start talking about it, I don't realize where I've been, what I've seen. I've seen quite a bit, and I've had a hell of a life though. I'm really happy about it. I really am. Okay, let's see here. We're sitting at about 70 minutes. I figured that we would have more people in here, according to his his hypothesis. So, being homeless, you see a lot of things others do not. Yeah, Kevin, you're probably right. I ain't seen you in a while. I was born in prison. I'm a butt phone. I like that butt phone. You're awesome. So, a lot of people wouldn't believe it either. Yeah, there's things that go on, and you just sitting there going like, how did that how did that even, how did I even witness that? Like, especially like that cult. That's an experience. It's like, I wouldn't believe it myself unless I experienced it. Like, just to be around, those things still exist? I wouldn't have thunk. But, it did. And this was like in 2002, 2003. So, I mean, this was still back, I guess when they still had what was it? The people with the star, that were waiting, and then they drink the Kool-Aid. So, well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad you guys are. I just want to see where you guys are and what you guys think and all this other cool stuff. But I gotta tell you, this is taxing on my brain. So if you guys notice, I kind of start losing direction a lot. So if you guys could help keep me on track, it would be much appreciated. Nobody chooses to be homeless, but some use homelessness to provide them more option as they're not paying traditional expenses. Here's the thing. Our ancestors, here's what made, I'm gonna make me a cup of tea while I'm doing this. Here's the a part of American history that most people don't get. Okay, a part of American history is that. Oh man, I'm just gonna have to use this water. A part of the American dream, the American way of life, okay? The reason why we don't have all these social services and we didn't have any of that stuff up until the, the Great Society put down by LBJ. When you had homeless, the homeless weren't your traditional people like your drug addicts. They were maimed. Some of them had what they called consumption from alcoholism and stuff like that. But for the most part, they really had you. In order to be homeless, you had to be maimed because you could go anywhere on the land. You could hunt. You could do all this stuff. And all those other things. But as we've become a centralized society, we've prevented people from doing that. And the truth is if we were to go out there and hunt the game and live off of just the game, there's only about maybe 2 weeks or a month's worth of food out there in the forest. Just think about that. But again, I lost myself. But yeah, no, we were a traditional society where if you fell on your face, you see, the great thing about being an American is you have the ability to take risk. However, in the modern society, we shy away from risk. We're scared of risk. What made this country great, what created the entrepreneurial people that there was, is because society embraced risk for progress, whether it be personal progress or progress of society. Society had enough gumption to be able to embrace risk. We are adverse to risk in our modern society. We are afraid of risk because we like the comforts and we like all that other stuff. But back then life was not very comfortable, so taking a risk really wasn't going to be more miserable than what you're already going through. But now they've made it to where well, not they, the just tradition, the way that technology has evolved, is that we're so afraid of risk that we're not willing to take it. And so, what would you do if you lost, everything 100 years ago, versus if you lose things now? 100 years ago, you got somebody, or actually about 150 years ago now, you have the Baron of San Francisco. He took a risk on rice futures from South America. The crop went awry, or the ship wrecked, or something like that. He lost his whole fortune because his whole fortune was invested in that one thing. Well, you know what? He lost his mind. He went out and he just became entertainment, like the guys that jump out of the bush and stuff like that. He became entertainment. And he even at one point in time asserted himself as the president of the United States. He was just batshit crazy. But people took risks, and then if they failed, they would end up homeless. And if it didn't break them, then they would claw their way out and find another way out. Because those that took the risk also got great reward. And so people were more willing to take a risk because they wanted a reward, because they wanted to be able to have a better life. Now that we have that life, we're no longer willing to take that risk. Okay? It's like that saying, what is it? Good men create good times create soft men, soft men create hard times create good men. It's kind of like that cycle. So, okay, let's see what you guys have said. So homelessness, it never used to be a bad thing. It was go pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That was the American way. That's always been the American way. Some people like the freedom that it gives them, but they could also get similar benefits. Not everybody is meant to be housed. I'm not meant to be housed. This is probably going to be the best that I get. I might get a shed or something like that, but I'm not meant for your traditional house. Unless I build my house on a piece of land that I own, I'm just going to live with some form of shelter over me. But whether I have a trailer, a shed, a rock hut, it doesn't matter, as long as I got a place to be in, out of the elements. That's all I really care about. And that's not a housed person. That's kind of like a homeless mentality. Okay. And that's just kind of what kind of sticks with you and everything. But I just don't think that everybody is meant to have a house. Not everybody is meant to live in the structured society that we have. Part of nature's self-defense mechanism is to have the anomalies. Not only the traditionalists, but the anomalies as well. So those are the people that go off and do weird and crazy things, like I don't know, I can't think of anything offhand, like I don't know, not even climb Mount Everest. I'm talking about like what Ford did so that he could create the Model T and stuff like that. I mean, yeah. So okay, a lot of rules, regulations to avoid being homeless nowadays. You can usually spend 70 to 90% of your time not being homeless. A lot of rules, regulations, costs to avoid being homeless nowadays. You can be easily spent to not being. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, that's because the system has got you afraid because you're comfortable. Okay. If you remember the video I did on the 7 stages of homelessness, I talked about what happened to me. Okay, you get out of homelessness and you stop being vigilant. You get comfortable. You think, oh, it'll never happen to me. I'm good. And then it sideswipes you. And then it sideswipes you, right? All right. So I mean, you get to a point where you're soft and you're comfortable and you think it won't happen to you. And you think that you're going to be perfectly fine, and you've got all your ducks in a row, and you've done everything that you needed to do to make sure that you never end up in that situation again. Well, the thing is you still didn't remain vigilant. And because you didn't remain vigilant, you got soft, and you let something that would have normally not run you into the ground run you into the ground. And so that is where society is. When society finally reaches that point where 30% of people lose their homes, you're gonna see people. You're gonna see the real people. You're gonna see people that are gonna show you exactly what their threshold of pain is. Which do they value more, their integrity or their comfort? And you're gonna find that out real quick. Yes, they just want to wander. Yeah, what's up, outdoors? Nice to see you. Check out the underground house in Fresno, California. I may have to look at it. Um, mm. Okay, guys. Well, I am kind of. It's starting to get dark. What are we sitting at? Yeah. Well, that cloud is almost over. So once that cloud gets over us, I'll feel a little bit better. But, um, yeah. You hear Sam over here snoring. Yeah. I'll leave her alone. Um. Yeah. Yeah, well, because when it becomes a burden, you don't want to deal with it. We're not looking for burdens. We're looking for assets, and so a piece of land is an asset. You can build your house on top of that asset, but to go buy a liability that is the only reason why it's appreciating in value is to keep up with inflation. Is just showing you how much your dollar has really been devalued. I mean, that's the only reason why you do it. It's just for wealth retention. But in a lot of ways, I don't really think it is wealth retention, because unless you're making more than enough money to cover your maintenance on it and the constant upkeep, it's not even worth being an investment. So, uh, oh, today's your birthday? Oh, nice. Mine's next week. So, um, but, okay, it's amazing. How old are you going to be? 29? Yeah, you're going to be 29 again, huh? So, but anyways, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. I think what I'm still gonna have to keep. I'm gonna ask the question in a poll, because I want to be able, because I know I'll get at least like 50, 60, 70 votes. And I want to kind of see what the large demographic says about all this. So, anyways, guys, see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat